After many moons of suing and boo-hooing and gavel-glazing and drooling, ruling the Billboard charts is no longer in Lobry's heart. He's grown far apart from artists he came up with from the start. Instead, he's ripping them all apart, flipping on all the narcs and hitting them with the bars. And we'll break down all of the art, but first get to clicking if you're smart. The like and subscribe button should be squeezed like butt cheeks to a fart.
I study
Rapaholics
for a living.
Alright, Lobries and Gentlegrams, Iceman is here. Well, sort of. We got several songs from Drake, and make no mistake, he's trying to make an earthquake. Alright, that was terrible, and I'm done with the bars. This is the first time I even rapped an intro in a long time, so drop a comment if you're happy about that. Now, I can't lie, the flows still sound stale. That's a tongue twister, try to say that. Flows still sound stale. But yeah, these songs sound like that classic Drake over conductor production, monotone stripped back flows, almost like he's talking on the beat. But he is saying a lot here and the bars hit hard. The shots he's sending are nice, I can't lie. So we're gonna break down everyone who caught a stray on these new Drake Iceman tracks. Starting off with 1 AM in Albuquerque, Drake lets us know how he's been feeling over the last few months.
My social battery is drained, for real, for real.
My social battery's drained for real, for real. It makes sense. If you thought Kendrick Lamar was busy with his Super Bowl shows, stadium tours, pop-outs, you probably haven't realized Drake has been twice as active and half as impactful. Aside from the fact that he's taken on basically a new full-time job as a stake gambling endorser, doing multiple live streams with the likes of Adin Ross, XQC, Ben the Don. Drake has also done a total of 49 concerts all across Europe and Australia, as well as 3 back-to-back nights at the Wireless Festival in London. Combine that with the fact that he dropped a collab album with PARTYNEXTDOOR, probably 10 plus songs that he leaked on his plot twist page. He was at Michael Rubin's White Party in 2024 right after the beef, looking like he aged 20 years. He's been outside making it look like there isn't a stain to his name, and I'm sure that's left him exhausted, or at least his social battery drained.
Just came from hearing a lot of cop a lot of pleas like, oh brother, no we brothers, it's never been nothing.
He said he's came from hearing a lot of his contemporaries cop pleas, try to pretend like they've been brothers this whole time. Who could he be talking about? Well, many people. I'm honestly surprised with the amount of people who seem pretty adamant that they had a problem with Drake, or at least showed direct support to Kendrick, throughout the whole beef, that are now, at the very least, easing their tone. Recently, you had Rick Ross seemingly imply that he has no desire to see Drake lose, and emphasize that artists are stronger when they work and come together.
Drake, if you listening to this, homie, listen to me. My nigga, shine. I don't want to see you lose. No real nigga want to see you lose. That ain't what niggas about. This culture, this game, this rap shit, this ain't what it's about. I don't want to see you lose. Real niggas just want to see real niggas shine together. Real niggas come up together. You understand? When I was the #1 nigga in the rap game, I showed niggas love. When French was on fire, he showed niggas love.
But it was far from just Rick Ross. DJ Khaled, who stayed silent all throughout the battle, popped out right at the tail end of it to announce that he had 2 Drake songs on his album. Drake commented under the post saying, "It must be Drake Bell, cause you didn't defend me in this battle, I'm not coming to donate hits to you or anything like that." And instead of addressing that directly, DJ Khaled pretends like it's all love whenever he's asked about it. As if Drake didn't basically tell him to go F himself.
Cause I know the 6th God was always your brother, he supported you.
I love Drake.
Ross is your day one.
I love Ross.
Future's your brother.
I love Future.
I love T-Pain. I'm forever got love for T-Pain.
Nobody is your brother. I've had DJ Khaled. Everybody done told me I'm your brother. Do not believe that shit.
Lord have mercy, King.
That feel like when the whole world's fighting each other?
What it feel like is that I didn't get in that energy. There's 2 energies I'm not going to get in. Hate. Ask me a question. How do you deal with hate? Please, can you ask me?
How do you deal with hate, brother?
I don't. And then when you speak about all those great legends that you just talked about from Drake, my brother Future, Drake, who else you named?
Ross.
Those are my brothers. If you can't question my friendship. How? It's impossible. Ain't nobody like mother DJ Khaled. Joe, you know that. You know, take your glasses off. Let them see. You know that.
I super know that.
I just want to show you that DJ Khaled T-Pain clip because, justice for T-Pain, alright? He did too much in this industry to not get spoken of more often and more highly. And to show you, these are all fair weather friends, right? I love this guy, I love that guy's my brother, this guy's my brother. Who's really your brother, right? That's what Drake, I guess, is saying in this song. He's tired of it. Even Metro Boomin, the man who you could make the argument kind of orchestrated or gave a platform to a lot of these artists who ended up dissing Drake. Rocky, The Weeknd, Kendrick, Rick Ross, they all dissed Drake on those Metro Boomin projects. But now this is what Metro has to say about the whole thing.
When two of the top dogs in the game and they, you both feel like you're the best, it's like, okay, now we gotta have a showdown. But I just feel like more today, it's more like stan culture. It's like, it makes it kind of weird. It's not like, okay, I hate this side, I hate this side. It's like, the internet just makes it a little too wild now. But I feel like, it's good for the game. And as far as me being diplomatic, I mean, it's just entertainment at the end of the day. And I have love and respect for all my collaborators. And, I just want to see everybody do the best and continue to help push this forward.
And this is why I respect Kendrick, right? Because Kendrick stood 10 toes down on what he thought, what he believed. He said what he said, he did what he did, and then he dipped. He just went back to visit his high school in California. He's at Disneyland. He's chilling. What did he say on High Power? Stand for something or die in the morning.
Don't try coming around when the score's back to 10-0.
Don't try coming around when the score's back to 10-0. Now, this is Drake playing a dangerous game, right? Because isolating yourself from what you consider the snakes within the industry, from a morality level, sure, that might be valid. But if this Iceman album doesn't do what you might think it will, those same guys who you think are copying please won't be around to try and leech off you. And you'll be stuck all on your own, trying to get revenge after the tables have already turned on you. And we know Drake is a gambling man, right? So could the quote-unquote score end up being 10-0 and Drake comes back on top? Sure, but he also probably thought the score of that lawsuit would be 10-0, and look how that panned out. So it's never really over until it's over.
Turbulent flights, dodging cumulus clouds, squares drawing a line, but we at the root of it now.
So Drake starts it off rapping, turbulent flights, dodging cumulus clouds, squares drawing a line, we're at the root of it now. This is already pretty decent wordplay. Cumulus clouds are those type of thick, puffy cotton clouds that form on sunny days. You know when it's like a complete blue sky and you'll see like clouds that are really thick and low to the ground? Those are cumulus clouds, also known as fair weather clouds. They appear when the weather's calm, when it's nice, when it's sunny and bright. A fair weather friend is the exact same thing. A friend who's only around when it's convenient for them, when everything is all good. Drake is saying he's on turbulent flights, aka chaotic, shaky, high levels, and he's dodging all the fair weather friends, the people who are only trying to come back around when it's convenient for them. Then he raps, squares drawing a line, we're at the root of it now. Obviously that's a play on words on the square root. The square root is the inverse of a number multiplying by itself. He's using square puns to say that his circle is getting smaller, while also saying that the squares are drawing a line, like the weirdos are trying to separate themselves from him.
It feels like I got a lot of even ties, so I don't know if these are wins or not based on what's suitable now.
So Drake raps, it feels like I got a lot of even ties. This is interesting on a couple different layers, right? First, he's obviously doing wordplay on suits and formal wear. An even tie is when you like tie a knot in your tie, like perfectly symmetrical, balanced, centered. But also coming off of the battle, Drake here is trying to imply that when the scores have settled, he didn't really take a loss. He's back catching up. But where it gets even more interesting is that there's been a lot of buzz lately about a music company called Even. Even is a music platform that allows artists to sell their music and merchandise and content directly to fans, basically bypassing streaming services. We know that's something Drake has been experimenting with over the last few years since the battle, dropping songs on his Instagram, on his Plot Twist page, sometimes just flat out leaking records. And he's been trying to frame his lawsuit like it's him fighting against the label, the machine, right? Trying to get out of his deal or get leverage and get his masters back. Maybe him saying I got a lot of even ties is also a reference to the fact that he's now positioned himself to move similar to a platform like Even, where he can distribute his art directly to his fans, bypassing all the labels and the streaming platforms. And he finishes the bar off saying, I don't know if these are wins or not based off what's suitable now. Again, going back to the even ties reference, Drake is trying to say that he's come back from all his losses, right? He evened the score. But the way that he's painted in the media and by the industry, the narratives on who's won or lost have kind of been blurred. They're dictated by the general public, by social media bots, by internet narratives. So he doesn't even know if he's actually winning based off the criteria of what's considered a win today in the internet era, based off what's suitable now. Bringing it back to the formal wear wordplay. Even ties, suit, suitable. Very clever, La Brianna.
You put that jacket on anybody, your funeral bound. But like the goalposts, I'm out here just moving around.
So he continues the formal wear wordplay here, while also doubling down on the idea that it's hard to really determine what an objective loss is in today's climate. You put that jacket on anybody, you're funeral bound. Remember the last few lines, he's talking about suits and ties, now he's talking about jackets, but when he says this, he's talking about how he believes that whole PDF jacket was put on him in the battle, and he thinks that's why he lost, right? He's saying that would be an easy funeral for any rapper who was faced with those allegations. Anyone with PDF on their jacket is losing, no matter what. Let's not forget him using Tupac vocals to ask Kendrick to talk about him liking young girls, but that's besides the point.
Yo, shout out to all the 12-year-olds in the building. What's up?
And the irony is that he later says, like the goalpost, I'm out here just moving around. Basically saying, like, again, it's hard to determine that he truly lost because everyone just keeps moving the goalpost when it comes to Drake. Now, when it comes to Drake, he doesn't truly know what it means to lose at this point. But why I said it's ironic is because, again, he was the one who basically asked Kendrick to talk about him liking young girls, but then when he did, Drake ends up suing and saying things like, oh, if anyone had that PDF jacket on them, they would have lost.
What is a loss? I'll be damned if I'm losing it now.
So he raps here, they say conclusions were drawn, but I'm in super denial. What is a loss? I'll be damned if I'm losing it now. Unable to come to grips with the fact that he lost anything tangible, and emphasizes that right now his head's high, he's in a good place, he's not losing it.
I'm the golden goose shaking things up at Lucian's house.
So here's where the spicy talk comes in. I'm the golden goose shaking things up at Lucian's house. The golden goose, of course, is the main breadwinner, right? Drake is saying he's the most valuable artist on his label UMG. Lucian is, of course, the CEO of Universal Music Group. And ironically, right before the battle, UMG actually did hundreds of layoffs, completely restructuring the entire company, consolidating all these smaller labels and these A&R, these key music positions, basically just to save a couple bucks. And that's hurt the industry overall. That's hurt the quality of music. CEOs are only focused on numbers. They're not focused on actual talent or art. But meanwhile, the numbers are down the drain. UMG stock is down over 15% in the last 5 years. Lucian's house is most definitely shook up, and that's what Drake is saying here. He's the main guy on the label, and while the label was kind of already in a bit of shambles, Drake is now suing and threatening to walk away, making things scarier for the future of the label, or for Lucian's house. And ironically, it was Vince Staples, when asked about what he thought of the Kendrick and Drake beef, who gave the most eye-opening answer about how Lucian's house is most definitely being shaken up right now, in a bad way.
Hey, who you think winning between Drake and Kendrick?
You don't want to know how I feel about that shit, bro. So I'm signed to Universal, right?
Yeah.
I've been signed to Universal since I was 17. I haven't got a back end. That means when you turn in an album, they give you payment. I haven't got a back end since 2017, 18. So I done been on the same record label for 13 years, so to say. That record label just folded all of its independent labels and subsidiaries into each other, which means how we was kids, you got Rockefeller, you got Def Jam, you got all these things. None of them exist no more. They fired all the heads of the labels, and if they didn't, they turned them into glorified A&Rs. They cut off 50% of the people who work in all these departments. Most of those people is us, people of color that come from hip-hop and R&B and these other things, right? Then you got record labels opening up IPOs. You got record labels destroying their relationships with TikTok, Spotify, things that pay out artists because they want to start their own shit. So then we getting priced out of our contracts. We getting priced out of our imprints. There are no labels basically that are incentivized to sign black music, and it's happening in front of our eyes. And while Taylor Swift is fighting for people to be able to have streaming money, niggas is on the internet arguing with each other about some rap shit. So that's how I feel about it. Personally, I think we better than that. I think we deserve better than that because we've been saying for decades that we want people to respect black music and black art and black people. And I think for that to happen, we got to respect ourselves.
Now, I don't think that's what Drake was referring to when he's talking about shaking up Lucian's house, but he's kind of attacking it from a different angle, right? While Vince Staples is emphasizing the lack of care and investment that major labels are putting into the art, sacrificing it for a profit, Drake is saying, I'm the most profitable thing at this label, and I'm making them terrified, thinking that their sinking ship is about to lose their golden goose.
A boost to see for your sales, analyze what you tell.
So Drake raps here, I'm in the battlefield, really putting boots to the ground. A booster seat for your sales and the lies that you tell. Being in the battlefield, putting boots to the ground has a double meaning. Remember how he just mentioned he's shaking up Lucian's house? What he's saying here is that by dropping consistently, selling all these records, he's in the field really putting in work for his label to profit off of. But he's also referencing the Kendrick beef here. Obviously, the battlefield putting boots to the ground is in reference to the fact that, you know, he's really out here engaging in the beef, not apologizing like J. Cole.
Spicy.
But when he says a booster seat for your sales and the lies that you tell, number one, it's another short joke against Kendrick because obviously, you know, when you're short, you need a booster seat like at the movie theater so you can actually see the screen. And he's saying by putting boots to the ground and engaging in that battle, being on the battlefield, he directly led Kendrick to see a boost in his sales. All his diss tracks ended up doing crazy numbers. And at the same time, Drake is trying to say that the content matter in the diss tracks were lies. So not only did his sales get boosted, but the amount of people that believed the quote-unquote lies in Kendrick's diss tracks also got boosted, right?
I want to perform their favorite song, but you know they love the suit. Yeah, that song.
Kendrick performed Not Like Us at the Super Bowl. It won all the Grammys. The amount of people that heard these PDF bars about Drake increased heavily, all because Drake willingly participated in the rap battle. It's also interesting that Kendrick in Euphoria said, "Don't tell no lies about me, I won't tell truths about you." Drake flips that here to basically say, you ended up telling the lies, and because I participated in the battle, millions of people got to hear those quote-unquote lies that you told about me.
If Drake took out the AK, maybe he'd be in jail.
Now, first going back to the previous bar about him participating in the battle, being on the battlefield, and as a result, all of Kendrick's sales and the lies that he quote-unquote told about Drake all saw a boost or an increase in numbers. Drake ponders on what would have happened if he pulled that same type of move. Would he be in jail? Would he be punished by the general public for quote-unquote spreading lies about Kendrick? Like what would have happened if he took the same strategy Kendrick did in the battle? But this line has a much deeper meaning. Drake raps, if Drake pulled out the AK, would he be in jail? What happens when you take out the letters AK from Drake's name? You just get Dre. What was Dr. Dre doing throughout the battle? Well, when Kendrick went up to win his Grammy, Dr. Dre was high-fiving Lucien Grange, the CEO of UMG, as Kendrick went up on stage to accept the award. He was also doing this at the pop-out.
I see dead people.
Now this is actually a really insane bar because Drake here says, if Drake pulled out the AK, maybe he'd be in jail. Taking out the letters AK from Drake's name, again, spells Dre. An AK is also a firearm, and what was Dr. Dre accused of recently? Well, in his divorce proceedings, his ex-wife, Nicole Young, accused Dr. Dre of pulling a gun on her. If Drake pulled out the AK, maybe he'd be in jail. You pull out the AK from Drake's name, you get Dre. Dre is accused of pulling an AK on his ex-wife. I'll give it to him. That's good wordplay.
Just based off the name that it spells.
Yup, just based off the name that it spells.
Heard they got special places in hell for niggas joking about evil when they did it themselves. Damn.
I heard they got special places in hell for people joking about stuff they even did so themselves. I don't know who Drake here is accusing of being a PDF, but basically he's saying like there's a special place in hell for people who would joke about someone else being a PDF, especially when they may allegedly hang out with PDFs. And I don't know, you guys tell me in the comments, like, did you ever actually think that Drake was a PDF? Do you even think Kendrick was doing anything more than just playing into angles and rumors that were already circulating about Drake? Like, you could be the biggest Drake fan in the world and still admit that the stuff Millie Bobby Brown said about him in interviews, how he would text her about boy issues, that was weird. Him with that girl on stage in 2009, that was weird.
Yo, shout out to all the 12-year-olds in the building. What's up?
I'm sorry, that's perfectly fine ammo in a rap battle when you yourself did this weird behavior. That's why you even acknowledged it on Taylor Made when you were begging Kendrick to drop. It doesn't mean you're a complete PDF on some like David stuff, right? Or on some Epstein stuff. And I've said in previous videos, I never thought Drake was a PDF, but there's no denying all that stuff was pretty weird. And to cry victim when someone used your own weird behavior against you in a rap battle, it's not really fair.
What y'all thought I was done? Y'all forgot what I done. Y'all forgot about Drake. Y'all forgot where I'm from.
Now, maybe this is me nitpicking, but I feel like bars like this are unnecessary. What, you thought I was done? You forgot what I've done? You forgot about Drake? You forgot where I'm from? It's just kind of overlooking the valid criticisms that Kendrick threw out throughout the beef, but also playing victim. Like, no, Kendrick told you in Euphoria, I like Drake with the melodies, I don't like Drake when he act tough. Keep making me dance, waving my hands, it won't be no threats. The lane for Drake to control the charts, to make the hits, all that, it's always been open. You just lost a rap battle. So to come back 2 years later, still talking about, you thought I was done? Last year it was, what did I miss? The year before it was, if I leave, these girls are gonna have to twerk with a dictionary. At this point, it seems Drake is more insecure about his position within the game than anyone else.
Y'all forgot if I gave you a hand, you under the thumb. Convenient amnesia from all you ballerinas.
So here you get some more bars very similar to what he was talking about on push-ups. The first number one you got, I put it in your hand. Here he's saying, you forgot if I gave you a hand, you're under the thumb. Meaning like you're beneath me, I control you if I'm the one that's kind of dishing out all the stimulus packages. And now it's convenient amnesia from all you ballerinas. Basically, you all conveniently forgot about the things I did for you when everyone turned against me. Ballerinas, they're known to kind of do these circular dances, right? Now you see all these guys dancing around questions when they're asked about Drake, doing circles, trying to come back around in his good graces.
It doesn't alter what you said or how it made us see you.
It doesn't alter what you said or how it made us see you. All the people who are, trying to reach back out to Drake or, speak decently about him in interviews now, it doesn't change what you said 2 years ago when this whole battle was taking place. It doesn't change how Drake sees you based off how you acted when everyone turned against him. But here's where the bars get spicier.
I shouldn't even be shocked to see you in that arena, cause you always made your career off of switching teams up.
See, this is a double entendre, and it's likely aimed at either LeBron James or DeMar DeRozan, both of whom were at the arena when Kendrick performed the pop-out. Drake raps, I shouldn't be shocked to see you in that arena because you always made your name off of switching teams up. Basketball players literally play in arenas, and of course, they're always switching teams. At the same time, specifically with LeBron, we've seen him show immense love to, countless different rappers. Drake considers that constantly switching teams. He thought LeBron was loyal to him, but then LeBron is at the arena watching Kendrick do the pop-out show. He's at the GNX tour. Drake shouldn't have been shocked by the lack of loyalty.
Y'all was riding all summer, pedal bars going number one, and yet y'all trying to tell me who's grooming who.
So this is more clever wordplay here. Y'all were riding all summer, pedal bars doing numbers, yet y'all trying to tell me who's G-R-O-O-M-ing who? Obviously Drake references pedal bars on a bike with all the people who turned against him riding all summer, right? The whole summer that Kendrick won that battle, all the guys who are now trying to make amends with Drake, they were riding all summer. They were celebrating that W that Kendrick took at Drake's expense. But also, Drake is hounding in on the PDF bars that Kendrick put in the song that ultimately won him the battle. The pedal bars doing numbers. When you say pedal really quickly, it doesn't just sound like a bike pedal. It sounds like a P-E-D-O, right?
Comb through this hair before you cut me for a new recruit, before you say toodaloo off of shit that keep popping up on your Google News.
Now these few bars I feel like might be a reference to Euphoria where Kendrick rapped, cutthroat business, you got stuff twisted, what is it, the braids? Here Drake is saying, comb through this hair before you cut me for a new recruit. Remember the last few bars were about people backpedaling, right, who were trying to be friends with Drake now after they were celebrating when Kendrick had won. He's saying, don't think you're about to cut me as a new recruit. You're not about to be joining my team. Then he raps, before you say toodaloo off of stuff that you keep seeing on your Google News. Basically, like all this stuff, everything pertaining to the beef, it's still relevant, right? It's still popping up on Google News. So before you think you can just kind of wipe that slate clean away, I'm still seeing it on a day-to-day.
Is it the fair skin or the Jewish roots? Why people want to not see me on top of the mountain like I do the dude?
So this is an interesting bar here. He says, is it the fair skin or the Jewish roots as to why people want to not see me at the top of the mountain like I do the do? I don't know what he means by do the do. But of course, when he says they do not want to see me on top of the mountain, it sounds like he's saying Nazi. Nazi is, of course, the infamous group that controlled Germany during World War II that were unaliving Jewish people. Drake questions, is it my Jewish heritage? Is it the fact that I'm biracial as to why people do not want to see me on top? I don't think he's correct, but I think he's clever with the wordplay.
And fuck a Billboard #1, man, whoop-de-doo.
So here Drake proclaims F a Billboard #1, man, whoop-de-doo. Whoop-de-doo obviously is in reference to Young Thug's famous interview last year where he said whoop-de-doo.
Whoop-de-doo.
But you gotta remember, Drake is one Billboard #1 hit away from beating Michael Jackson's record for the male artist with the most #1 Billboard charting hits in history. This was something he cared a lot about last year when his quote-unquote comeback single, What Did I Miss?, only hit #2 on the Billboard charts. He had posted it saying, like, the stuff is rigged, whatever. He was complaining about it last year. But now he says he doesn't care. Whoop-de-doo. If I get it, if I get it. If I don't, I don't. And a lot of his fans have been kind of anticipating, like, oh, Iceman is for sure going to have a single chart at #1 the second that the album releases. And so Drake will basically beat Michael Jackson's record right when he drops this new comeback album. And of course, even on First Person Shooter, the song that you could argue kicked off this entire beef, Drake ended that song by saying, I'm one away from Michael, beat it. So we're 3 years later, and now Drake effectively doesn't care. And this is obviously because he's now going up against the record label, suing them in court, right? So the narrative, according to him currently, is that, everything is rigged, right? The label is going to make it very hard for him to get that number one. And he doubles down on that in the next set of bars.
They rigging the game because you fighting the biggest artist, trying to have me stuck in this position like rigor mortis.
Now remember, at the beginning of this song, Drake was questioning what it really meant to win in this game when everything seems like it's rigged, right? He's suing the label, claiming that, they rigged the numbers, they boosted Not Like Us with a bunch of bots and fake streams. He thinks that the general public was convinced to believe a bunch of lies that Kendrick told, and because of that, the W that Kendrick got in the battle wasn't really valid because it was based off lies. So he's questioning what it truly means to even win in this day and age, and now he brings it onto the Billboard charts and the labels, right? Saying that the charts are rigged, and that's why he hasn't got his number one hit. And basically by rapping, they're rigging the game because you're fighting the biggest artist. He essentially is saying, like, in order for someone like Kendrick Lamar to have even won that battle, at least on the numbers side, they would have had to rig the game or fudge the numbers. Because otherwise, when it comes to Drake, spicy. Drop a comment if you got the reference. Yeah, when it comes to Drake, there's no winning on the numbers side unless you literally cheat your way through. And he doubles down on that on the next bar.
Turn my back on you just to give you the biggest target.
I turn my back on you just to give you the biggest target. In his last Iceman episode, we also saw Drake, be chased by all these Pinocchios, these puppets of the industry, and at the end, he turns his back to the camera and basically surrenders to them. I guess what he's trying to say here is, I was the golden goose of the record label, right? So going after me got you the biggest reward because I was the biggest artist. There's nothing bigger to gain than defeating me. But I don't know, my bias, or does it damn near sound like he's saying, like, I let you win. I let you win that battle. Also, I forgot, earlier he rapped, I'm stuck in this position like rigor mortis. Obviously, he's saying he's stuck in the position of, being one under Michael Jackson on that record because the labels are cheating the game. They're rigging the numbers. Rigor mortis is the temporary stiffening of the muscles that occurs right after you pass away. And of course, Kendrick also has a song called Rigor Mortis. So he's saying Kendrick's always been stuck in that lesser position and, they're cheating the game, they're cheating the numbers to try and make Drake a lesser artist as well.
They only know your name in the bigger markets, never in the little markets, B markets, C markets, all of those is D markets.
Now this is where it gets a bit confusing because you don't know if he's saying markets or Marcus. He raps, they only know your name in the bigger markets, never in the little markets. B markets, C markets, all of those are D markets. Now don't forget all the wordplay Kendrick did on Not Like Us, where he was talking about, A minor, and then Drake tried to flip it on the Hard Part 6, talking about you left D flat, D major. I think this is a subtle callback to that. But he's also trying to downplay Kendrick or whoever he's talking about's success on a worldwide level. He's saying they know you in the big markets, right? The major cities, New York, LA. But like he said on Push-Ups, I'm out in Tokyo because I'm big in Japan, right? Drake can go to all the smaller markets and still sell out shows there. The little markets, the B markets, the C markets. He says all of those are D markets, saying like he controls those markets. They're D's, aka Drake's markets. But he also says markets in a way where it kind of sounds like he's saying Marcus. And DeMarcus, aka DeMarcus Lawrence, was an NFL player whose numbers and stats declined after getting a huge contract. Drake says all of them are D markets. Possibly his way of saying Kendrick came out of the battle looking like the top guy, bigger numbers than ever, more cultural status. I believe he even renegotiated his contract just a couple days before the battle started, right? Probably asking for a bigger sum. And if this is the case where Drake is really referencing DeMarcus Lawrence, maybe he's implying that, just like DeMarcus, Kendrick's performance in the game was underwhelming after signing a new big contract.
You belong in a pack with some rats like Dean Martin.
So then Drake raps, you belong in a pack with some rats like Dean Martin. A rat is obviously sneaky, disloyal, fake, you're a rat, right? But Dean Martin, he was in a group of entertainers called the Rat Pack. So maybe going back to the whole, Iceman Pinocchio symbolism, he's trying to say Kendrick or whoever he's referencing here belong in a group similar to the Rat Pack, right? Like just an industry-backed group of entertainers. But Frank Sinatra was in the Rat Pack. I don't really see how this is an insult. But maybe it is, because Drake then raps,
Me, Wayne, and Mac, the three amigos, I'm Steve Martin. I swear I'm going loony over tune like that Green Martian, so please stop.
It's me, Wayne, and Mac, the three amigos, I'm Steve Martin. So while Kendrick belongs in the Rat Pack, Drake is comparing himself, his former record label owner Lil Wayne, and the president of Lil Wayne's record label Young Money to the Three Amigos. In the movie The Three Amigos, it's about three movie stars who get fired when one of their movies tanks. They get kicked out of Hollywood after asking for more money, and this kind of already sounds like what's going on with Drake and Wayne's career, right? Their recent music hasn't been up to par, and they've both actually taken UMG to court. Lil Wayne settled with UMG back in 2018 for, I believe, $10 million after years of not being able to release his album The Carter 5 and claiming that they owed him $50 million. And of course, Drake sued UMG believing that they tried to devalue his brand with the whole Kendrick beef. They effectively got kicked out of Hollywood. But in The Three Amigos, in their movies, they play hero characters. A woman in a small village saw their movie and thought they were actual heroes, so she hires them to actually fight off danger in her town, but they think they're going there to perform another acting gig, acting as heroes. They think it's show business, but then they realize they're in real danger, and they end up fighting off the bad guys. So Drake here is comparing himself and the people he came up with to these characters, basically saying they're the heroes fighting off the fake and the evil that plagues the industry. Drake also compares himself to Steve Martin, who's the frontrunner of the group, the main guy. He continues the pop culture references, saying that I go loony over tune like that Green Martian. Now I like this bar because I just love Lil Wayne, so I like when Drake brings up Lil Wayne and pays homage to him, right? He's saying he goes loony over tune. Lil Wayne's nickname is Tunechi. Drake is effectively saying, like, he'll go crazy to stand up for Lil Wayne. But going loony over tunes also means, like, I'm blacking out on songs, right? I'm going crazy over these songs, on these tunes. But Looney Tunes itself was my favorite show in the first grade, and it's a cartoon. And in that cartoon, there's a character named Marvin the Martian, the Green Martian that Drake is referring to. He's saying he's blacking out on these songs. He's going Looney Tunes. He's going Martian mode, right? Like an alien. But it's significant also because Lil Wayne used to always call himself a Martian. So good wordplay here. I like when he brings it back to the Young Money days.
Memories of where we used to live, but truth be told, I can't even see the block. It's blocked by the treetops.
So here Drake raps, memories of where we used to live, but truth be told, I can't even see the block. It's blocked by some treetops. This is interesting. Firstly, on the surface, it could mean like Drake has got so rich that he can't even remember where he came from, where he used to live. But when you dig deeper, there's some layered meaning that I might butcher just because I don't know anything about gang culture. But let's break it down piece by piece. Memories of where we used to live. Drake used to live in Calabasas. Calabasas is obviously located in California. He then says, truth be told, I can't even see the block. It's blocked by some treetops. California obviously is known for having very high palm trees, but it's much deeper than that. Kendrick is from Compton, right? The same state that Drake used to live. But he can't go back to see the block, aka the hood, because it's blocked by some treetops. Treetop Pyrus are a gang in Compton. Drake used to live in California. He's likely saying he can't go back because gang members are blocking him from coming back to LA. And when he says, I can't see the block, it sounds like he's saying Cedar Block. Cedar Block is another set of the Pyru gangs in LA. And what's interesting is I think The Game, the rapper The Game, is a part of the Cedar Block Pyrus. Why this is interesting is because we know Drake was having some trouble going to LA back in like 2015 when he did that 100 song with The Game, and The Game always claims that, you know, he brought Drake to LA and made sure he was safe there and dealt with whatever issues Drake had.
Cap.
So if The Game is associated with Cedar Block Pyrus, maybe Drake here is saying he can't go back to see or associate with the gang members that he's connected with through The Game because it's blocked by some treetops, treetop Pyrus, who are possibly making it dangerous for Drake to return to LA because of their allegiance to Kendrick. Again, I'm no gang expert here, all right? So I could be wrong on all of that. I'm not, you know, the source of credibility on anything closely related to what I just spoke on, so take my word with a grain of salt, but I think that's interesting. Drop a comment if you know more about this and there's any validity to what Drake said here.
Please stop asking about what's going on with 23andMe. I'm a real and he's not. It's in my DNA.
So, more very clever wordplay in my opinion on these bars here. Drake says, please stop asking me about 23andMe. I'm a real one and he's not. It's in my DNA. 23andMe is a company that does DNA testing, right? You can find out your ancestry, you could find out if you're the father to a child. So he starts the line off rapping about 23andMe and he ends it by saying, I'm a real one, it's in my DNA. 23andMe is a DNA testing service, but again, it gets deeper than that. For starters, we know Kendrick has a song called DNA. We know that Kendrick also dropped the bombshell in Meet the Grams that Drake may have a daughter. So the 23andMe line could be in reference to Kendrick trying to sort back Drake's lineage, right? But beyond that, 23 is the name on the jersey that LeBron plays in. We know that Drake and LeBron have had a very public falling out. He's asking people to please stop asking about me and 23, me and LeBron.
I could have fell back like the married rapper, but we engaged. I told y'all I'm settled in my evil ways.
Finally, some J. Cole references here, alright guys? Some more really good wordplay here, I gotta give it to him. Yeah, the flow's kinda boring, but the wordplay is good. So he said, I could have fallen back like the married rapper, but we're engaged. I told y'all, I'm set in my evil ways. Many layers here. For one, obviously, a lot of criticism Drake gets is that he's constantly out partying, associating with, we'll say, women much younger than him, right? So for one, Drake is saying, I could have fallen back and gotten married like you guys and lived a happy private life, but I chose this game, I chose violence. But this is definitely about J. Cole. For starters, J. Cole early on in his career struggled with monogamy. He fell in love early on and eventually committed to marriage, but that didn't come without its struggles. Beyond that, we know that J. Cole fell back in this battle. Drake is saying, I could have fallen back like the married rapper, but we engaged. Like, we engaged in this war. I didn't fall back. At the same time, J. Cole has done several interviews talking about the beef and his apology, and he says his wife played an integral role in that. We know how nasty the beef got. We know that families got involved, right? J. Cole saw that and didn't want things to get personal. And at the same time, once he dissed Kendrick for that entire week before he deleted his diss track, his wife saw that it was weighing on him heavy. He regretted the decision. So he actually said, once he finally apologized, she ended up crying out of happiness because she was relieved that J. Cole didn't have to go through with something he didn't want to do.
Before you made the apology, the 5 minutes, the 5 hours before, was it something that you had really thought of and planned? No. Or did you get on the stage and felt like, I need to do this?
No, it hit me an hour before. But before that, I was stressing the fuck out. In the moment that the idea came to me, like via God, it's like, oh man, I lifted and I got light. And I got so excited because, you know, to tell you the 2 or 3 days before that, it was like, oh my, nah, this was terrible, because I felt like I misrepresented myself. That shit had me feeling terrible because I'm like, oh my God, like this shit is nasty. I felt miserable about it. Whole demeanor, my whole shit, my wife could tell. And so I'm like, oh my God, I got to go on the stage and like come out here and pretend. So an hour before it was like, aha. And in that moment, I'm like, oh, thank you, God. I told my wife, she's the only one I told. I ain't telling nobody else. I was like, yo, this is what I'm about to go do. She start crying because she know how I feel about him. You know what I mean? Like she knows, and she saw how it was weighing on me the 2-3 days before that. She could see in my whole energy, and she would even ask me, and I'm just like, yeah, I got a lot going on right now. Like,
so it's interesting. First of all, obviously, again, we know that this is a reference to J. Cole because Drake also ends the bar off saying, I'm stuck in my evil ways. I told you guys that. And J. Cole and Drake have a song called Evil Ways, where J. Cole reflects on how Drake is now in his quote-unquote demon phase. So Drake here is basically saying, I could have fallen back like that guy whose wife started crying when he ended up apologizing because she was so relieved. But no, I was on demon time. I chose to engage. I chose to go through with this battle.
Thinking that the spot is up for grabs and never see the day. To be the number one, you gotta lead the way.
So he says, these guys think that the spot is up for grabs. They'll never see the day. This is another short joke aimed at Kendrick, right? Like he's too short to see the top and to say like, you know, there's no chance you'll ever be number one. But here's where it gets interesting. He says, to be the number one, you gotta lead the way. Basically implying that what Kendrick has done in the quote-unquote dot era has not been sufficient to earn that spot of being, you know, the leader of the culture.
Cap.
Drake and Kendrick, they move in very different ways, right? Like Kendrick values his privacy. He values his private life. He creates, I believe at least, more so out of a space of what's moving him in that moment. That's why all his projects are so vastly different. And he's said it himself. He works in the present moment, right? He creates from the present moment. So in order to do that, you got to live life. You got to grow, mature, heal to be able to constantly innovate. But in order to do that, it requires a certain level of privacy and actually living a real life full of depth. As far as Drake, he's constantly active, right? He's constantly doing features with younger artists. I think there's value in both. I mean, you guys know my opinion, right? I do think that Drake over the last few years has churned out a lot of formulaic garbage just for the sake of being relevant. And when him and J. Cole were celebrating being at the top on first person shooter, it's like, what were you exactly celebrating, right? Like, the culture was commercially in just as weak of a spot as it was after you lost the battle and Kendrick got the crown. So you guys tell me in the comments, has Kendrick done enough to be worthy of earning that title of being the leader of the culture?
And I hold something over my head forever, you're still a couple feet away.
Here's another short joke. When Drake says here, to hold something over my head forever, you're still a couple feet away, he's basically saying like Kendrick is too short to actually hold something physically over Drake's head. But also, we know that in Drake's perception, Kendrick only won the battle and became the #1 guy on the number side because he put out that song Not Like Us, which was full of lies. So remember the prior bar, he was talking about in order to be #1, you gotta lead the way. You can't just be #1 because you're holding this diss song over my head. You're performing it at the Super Bowl, at the pop out, at the stadium tours, latching onto this moment. Drake is saying, if you think that's what's going to keep you at the top, you're still far away. You're a couple feet away.
Your insecurities keep spanning season to season like you Issa Rae.
So in the next set of bars, when Drake raps, your insecurities keep spinning season to season like your Issa Rae, obviously he's saying that Kendrick's not comfortable in that top position. He's not comfortable in the shoes that he tried to fight to be in, but it's a little bit of wordplay here as well because Issa Rae created a show called Insecure. You get it? Insecurity spinning season after season.
Plot twist, the owl never sees the cage. The owl only wakes up and sees the day.
So in the next set of bars here, Drake references the caged owl in the Not Like Us music video, right? And he also references his Plot Twist Instagram account. The whole purpose of the Plot Twist account with all the, leaked music, cryptic imagery, all the unreleased footage of Drake in studio sessions and concerts, it was to kind of reclaim the narrative, right? Even on that account, he posted Game 2, we will win. So here he's literally saying, plot twist, the owl will never see the cage. The owl only wakes up to seize the day. You didn't capture me. You didn't put me in a box. The owl will seize the day.
Talking about hiding the Bible, maybe I should read a page.
Here, Drake makes more references to Not Like Us, right? Kendrick on that song rapped, I'll beat your butt and hide the Bible if God's watching. Drake says, you're talking about hiding the Bible, maybe you should read a page, saying that all the accusations Kendrick made in Not Like Us were sinful, right? Because they were all lies, fabricated.
The blasphemy you talk, let me know that your amazing grace won't be delayed.
So here comes Drake with more victim raps, right? The blasphemy you talk, let me know that your amazing grace is gonna be delayed. It was sinful when you call me a PDF on Not Like Us.
You niggas should be ashamed. The fact you had to bring those talks to get some decent plays, goodness gracious.
More victim raps here. Drake is saying that Kendrick should feel ashamed that he had to, resort to calling Drake a PDF in order to get some quote-unquote decent plays, some decent numbers on the charts.
Dodge your troop, but still managed to finally get a hit that lets you run a base.
So here Drake brings some baseball wordplay into the equation, still talking about how Kendrick used these blasphemous lyrics to get himself a #1 hit. He says, you dodged a troop, but still managed to finally get a hit that let you run a base. Dodge here is obviously also a reference to the LA Dodgers that won the World Series, I believe, back-to-back against the Toronto Blue Jays. But he's saying that quote-unquote hit did not get Kendrick very far. It didn't get him a home run. It got him to run one base. Like he said earlier in this song, right? To be #1, you gotta lead the way. You can't just do it off of clowning me and putting these lies on my name. That'll only get you so far.
Niggas saw you out at first, you need them, so you out at home now, just like a double play.
So Drake continues the baseball metaphors here in a pretty clever way. At first, it was you got a hit that let you run a base, aka you had one big success that moved you forward, which was Not Like Us in Kendrick's case. But then, quote unquote, people saw you out at first. Basically, people originally thought like you were done or you were losing, you weren't really ahead. Then Drake raps, you need them, so you're out at home now. Basically, you needed the industry or the team around you to make it all the way, to get to that home run. But you're out at home now. You got out at the last second. Basically, all that industry support had failed, and you got thrown out at the final stage. And because it was someone else giving you that support, aka they saw you at first base, so they helped move you forward. But both of you got tagged out at the last second. 2 outs, like a double play. Basically, the beef gave you momentum, the industry helped you out, but now you guys are both screwed. And of course, being quote-unquote out at home is also in reference to the fact that, like Kendrick said on, I believe, 616 in LA, I'm sorry that I live a boring life, I love peace. Kendrick is just out at home chilling, right? Going to Disneyland.
I'm down to put bills on their face, no wonder why they been ducking Drake.
In the next set of bars, we get some animal wordplay. I will say it's good wordplay. Drake raps, as for these other suckers tucked away, I'm down to put bills on their face, no wonder why they've been ducking Drake. For the last set of bars, all the baseball bars and everything, he was talking to Kendrick. Now he's talking to the rest of the 20 in the 20v1, right? The other suckers who got out the way. When he says, I'm down to put bills on their face, he's talking about putting money on their head, right? Hiring someone to unalive them. Basically, he's down to lyrically kill them all. Or just from a friendship perspective, kill them all off. But where the wordplay comes in is because a duck has a bill. It's part of their beak. A drake is actually a male duck. So he says he wants to put bills on their face, the same way a duck has a bill on their face. Because he wants to kill them, it's no wonder that they're ducking him. They're ducking Drake. But again, a drake is a male duck. Bills on their face, no wonder they're ducking Drake. Good wordplay.
You boys too pretty like double dates, running out of 6 like you want to race.
In the next set of bars, Drake references the fact that Kendrick did 2 sold-out dates in his hometown of Toronto. There were rumors that when Kendrick performed there, in between the 2 concerts he had, he actually flew back home to New York to sleep for the night before his next show because it was not safe for him to be there in Drake's hometown. We remember Top 5, Drake's little goon was looking for him, right? So Drake here says, you're too P-word like double dates. On the surface, he's saying you're too P-word, right? Like you're just a scaredy cat. But too P-word also means 2 girls, right? 2 kitty cats, just like a double date. Then he says, running out the 6 like you want a race. Because unlike Drake, who was running through the 6 with his woes, Kendrick was running out of the 6 when he was performing there on his not single date, but his double dates, right? So he's calling Kendrick the P-word, but he's saying you're too P-word, like you're such a scaredy cat that you had to run out of my city. But 2 P-words, aka 2 vaginas, that's a double date. And when Kendrick had double dates, 2 performances in the 6, he had to run out to go sleep in New York, which is what makes him a P-word. Very dope wordplay, but I mean, he is giving Kendrick a compliment here, right? Like Kendrick did 2 stadiums with the whole crowd chanting Not Like Us back-to-back nights in Drake's hometown. But hey, get your bars off, Crody.
Who knows which one of his bubble-shaped things I must have ushered through the double gates. Showed at the time of a life while broski having stomach aches, hearing about good times that lovers late. Send it back to you while you sleepwalking naked in another state.
This could be my favorite set of bars on the entire track, alright? This is completely directed at Joe Budden. By the way, full Joe Budden Drake breakdown, including line-by-line breakdown of every single Joe Budden diss track aimed at Drake. That's coming soon, alright? So stay tuned on the channel. But a lot of Joe and Drake's issues stem from the fact that they've slept with a lot of the same women. Specifically, Tahiri, who Joe Budden had proposed to on Love and Hip Hop, to which she said no. They were in an on and off relationship from 2005 to around 2015, and in 2011 they were on a break, and Drake took her swimming with dolphins on a luxury vacation, right? Huh? So right here, Drake is basically saying, who knows which one of his ladies, his bubble-shaped tings, because we know Joe has a history of going for a lot of, I guess you could call them bubble-shaped tings, right? Like BBLs, boob job, big lip filler, the whole 9 yards. Drake says, who knows which one of them it was that I ushered through the double gates and showed her the time of her life while broski had a stomach ache hearing about the good times at Lover's Lane. Basically, no wonder this guy hates me. He hears these stories of these girls who had a great time with me and he gets sick to his stomach because he knows he's either been with them or he's with them now. Then Drake says, and then I send them back to you while you're sleepwalking naked in another state. Now, this is insane, all right? Because another state could A, mean that, you know, Joe Budden is in a completely different area code from Drake. Drake is staying in a much bigger house with these women before he sends them back to Joe. Another state could also mean that Joe, you know, he's had a long history of using a little too many substances that, you know, alter his mind in another state. But the biggest bum of all here is that Joe Budden literally has like a sleepwalking, you wouldn't call it disease, but I don't know what it is. Basically, like he sleepwalks, right? And there was literally a time when he was caught on camera sleepwalking naked and banged on his neighbor's door in the middle of the night. So this is an absolutely insane bar. Good job, Drake, on that one. That was a hilarious one. I almost want to cap the video off right there, but let's let Drake cap off this video with the final bars of this track.
What is it, the braids? Even when I cut them, I can never fade. I mean, it's Drizzy Drake.
Another Euphoria reference, Drake literally quoting word for word, what is it, the braids? And then some hairplay, wordplay, saying that even if I got stuff twisted and it was the braids, and even if I cut them, I Could Never Fade Away. Honestly, I wouldn't call this a powerful track. I wouldn't call this the most riveting track from a flow perspective, of production perspective, but if we're talking straight wordplay and what Drake got off his chest here, aside from being slightly delusional, aside from, still getting some unwarranted victim bars, in my opinion, there is still some grade A wordplay. So this was entertaining. But let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you in the next one.
So let me tell you something. This is gonna be the craziest fucking project ever.
Yeah. Yeah. He said even Muggsy Bogues done for once.
If he doing that, we gonna have to paywall.
Oh my God.
If he doing that, we gonna have to pay per view.
That's why,
You hear that?
buddy, and that's why we're together. That's it. It just that.
No,
Yeah,
I thought he was gonna come with some bullshit still. If he gonna do that on a project,
Joe gonna fucking be like,
just listen, guys. If that's what the project is, which is what it's gonna be, it's game over.
that's one song. He do that on the 1 a.m.
Nah.
Damn joints. Don't get hyped.
No. Listen. If you don't give this, he's coming with a tidal wave. It's gonna wipe everything out. It's mastermind shit coming. And guess what? I think 40's been there the whole way. He's back on track, and now it's gonna bury everyone.
Shout out to 40.
Shout out to 40.
even
Don't
Muggsy.
say everyone, because that's us.
No, buddy. You're
Come
not.
on, Ian. Use your brain. He just said everybody was walking through the double doors.
Yeah. No, buddy, we're opening the doors.
We're gonna do a power with Sasha.
That Nazi line was crazy.
Yo.
He killed that shit.
I study rap
Aholics
for a living.